Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's album review. Today, we're doing something or reviewing an album that we haven't ever reviewed this sort of genre before, or the way it's come about is quite interesting. So, the album we are reviewing, I should say, is Shadow Work in Technicolor by the Sunset Kings. So, how did this come about? Let me tell you. We received a comment on one of our videos by the Sunset Kings themselves, suggesting that we check out their music. So we got into a little conversation with them by email. And yeah, we've agreed to review their latest album. So yeah, first time we've ever had something like this before occur, where we're actually reviewing an album sort of at the request of a group or a band or an artist, whatever. So really looking forward to it. And one thing I must just add, we are not being paid for this review. We always give our honest opinions on the music we listen to, so nothing is going to change with this album. So let me just quickly show you the songs on the album. So I'll just share the screen. Brett, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so it's a short album. It's half an hour long. There are quite a few tracks on there, though. There are 12 tracks on there, but the reason it's a short album is because the tracks, most of them are very short. 1 minute 8 seconds, 2 minutes 23, 1 minute 19, 1.5 minutes 24 seconds for the last one. Yeah, really looking forward to it. Don't really know what to expect, but when we do start the album review, we will do our research on it and we'll get back to you about everything that we know about the Sunset Kings. Brett, what about you? Anything you want to say? You looking forward to it?
Yeah, no, so again, it's not much more I can say than you said there. Yeah, definitely looking forward to it and be interested to see what's about to some of those real short songs there, really. Because in the past, we've been generally saying 3 minutes is a short song from some of the things we've been listening to. So they'll be interested to see that. So yeah, that's it, something different. Looking forward to it.
Good, yeah. So what's going to happen is now Brett and I are going to go to sleep, and when we wake up, we will have listened to the album review. So we will have listened to the album, and then we will review it for you. So in 3 seconds, Brett and I are going to go to sleep. We're going to close our eyes and just put our heads down. So 3, 2, 1, let's go to sleep. Oh, hello. Hello, good morning. Oh, good sleep. And in our sleep, we listened to the Sunset Kings.
You managed to get your hair cut during that sleep there, Lee.
Yeah, I managed to get my hair cut as well during my sleep. So, yeah, quite good. Okay. So, yeah, we have now listened to Shadow Work in Technicolor by the Sunset Kings. And Brett, would you like to tell us what you thought?
I knew you were going to do that, Joanne. Yeah, so I didn't know if we were going to have a little conversation first about the band themselves, or it might be easier and probably better as we maybe go through the tracks. We can talk about different elements and different things about it. I'll start with the main words sort of I've written down here. Okay, diverse band, diverse songs. And another thing here, but it's almost like alternative music. But it's almost like a new type of alternative music. So I think the alternative music was meant to be, something a bit different, something a bit new, a bit out there. But alternative music is now almost quite well known. It's quite common. It's quite what you expect. So this is almost taking a new take on it. So I give a lot of praise, to at least try and be a bit different. It's pretty easy just to copy or be someone like someone else. Nothing wrong with that, because that's the style like that. But at least here they're trying to be a bit different. I think the trouble I had with a lot of it, I think maybe it was, I wouldn't say trying too hard. I think maybe it was a bit too much going on. There were so many elements I really, really enjoyed from it. And I felt like if it was just that part of it, it'd been fantastic, or another part, fantastic. But altogether, at times just felt maybe there's a bit too much going on. But I said there was definitely a lot I did enjoy and like from it. There were a couple of songs on there which I did enjoy more than potentially the others. And like I said, it was definitely something a bit different to the album itself. Lots of different influences you can hear throughout sort of the album in one regards. And I said it might make more sense as we go through each of the tracks.
Okay, yeah. Certainly some stuff that I agree with, which I'll talk about in a moment. So for me, I found the album to be very artistic. And
Good word.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought gone into the album. We probably overuse this word, but experimental. You know, in the sense of there was a lot going on, like you said, right? And I totally get what you mean. You did have to sort of concentrate quite a bit. But one thing I would say, I listened to the album, I don't know, about 5 times.
Okay.
And I think that the more you listen to it, you kind of get used to it. Like the first time you listen to the album, it is a real sort of shock, because you're like, well, what's this? There's so much going on. It's a lot to take in. But then as you can listen to it again and again, you sort of just get accustomed to it. And I think it does actually work very well once you're used to it. Certainly thought it was unusual, at least by our standards, you know, compared to the stuff that we would normally listen to. I thought it was quirky.
That's a good word, yeah, like that.
Yeah, I've been working on my adjectives here. Elements of different genres. So, yeah, we've got jazz, even a bit of rap in there. And then it was just all sorts going on. It really was pop. As we said, we'll go through each song and we'll talk about it in more detail. And yeah, I mean, sort of the way I describe it, it's like it could be like a sort of boring generic pop group if they wanted to, but they've opted for something really, really unique, which I think I really appreciate. You know, they're not the norm. What I would perhaps question in terms of popularity going forward for them, like if you are a, say, heavy metal band and you're producing heavy metal, then you've got your niche, your fans, that people that like heavy metal. Same could be said if you're doing, I don't know, classical music or hip hop. But with this genre, because it's such a sort of mix of different things going on, a concoction of things, cocktail, I don't quite know who they're aiming their music at. So it'd be interesting maybe to get their views on that. What sort of their target market is, what sort of people generally, listen to their music. Yeah. That's not a criticism, by the way. Just wondering.
Yeah, can I add on to that? I think just to help with that, because I think it's a really interesting point. And I mean, someone could argue, well, actually, all different kind of genres of music probably adapted from somewhere or another. Like one I think off the top of my head, a quite modern genre is like grime music, which is sort of rap, R&B, pop, kind of all mixed in together. You could argue, some people say, well, who would be, and maybe just it grows a following. Same with alternative music, it's probably a mix of sort of old style sort of rock and roll with synthetic, but I don't know, it could be all different types of genre music. What I'm trying to say starts from somewhere. So this could be new genre that just sort of takes off that people end up getting into. But I do totally get the point as well, how you're almost getting two totally different things. Like I said, the alternative music and jazz. Said maybe it's a bit too far for some people.
Okay. And I feel as though the album needs to be listened to in full rather than just sort of trying to pick out individual songs. Because I think the album's telling a story. It's like an audio movie type of thing. I would describe it as. So yeah, very clever, very artistic. It's obviously about their lives during a difficult period of their lives. I know that one of their band members died, so I think it's showing their feelings. I was perhaps struggling to understand the lyrics, but that's nothing on them. It's just me in general. I'm not very good at sort of listening and understanding lyrics and listening to the music at the same time. I got the general gist of it, but perhaps Brett, as we go through the songs, you might be able to possibly help me out with that.
I don't know if I'm getting on that point, because again, I was going to talk about it as we went through some of the songs, but I also found the same thing. That's why I said sometimes a bit too much going on. And I know we've talked in the past where we don't really listen to the lyrics or pick up on the lyrics, never been a thing. But I think it feels like it is needed, but I struggled to sort of actually hear what was being sung, because there might be a bit of jazz music played or another bit of really interesting. And so I also struggle to actually pick up on the lyric side of things, or even though we generally don't, but more so when you want to try and pick it up, found it difficult to do so.
But what I would say, I think the music itself painted the picture. You know what I mean? It was the story in a sense. So perhaps the lyrics weren't overly important in terms of what they were trying to portray.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
And so I've got a lot of notes here. Yeah, overall, really enjoyed the album, especially as I kept listening to it. I found it really mind-blowing, like really kind of had me entranced. And I suppose it's the sort of album you would listen to on your own to kind of contemplate life. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, probably not the sort of stuff I'd normally listen to, but that's just because, I don't know, I've just never come across this style of music before. It's such, I was saying, it's kind of mix of things. So yeah, I really, really liked it. So we'll go through the individual songs. Before we do that, is there anything you want to add regarding them as a group, regarding them as this album, that maybe a bit of background information about it?
Not much. I think we covered sort of quite a few bits as we were sort of going through the album there, but I think the idea is that I think you made a good point there where they could have, where I started, where we said, could have easily just gone down a nice, simple, easy pop group or doing good music, but they want to be a bit different. They want to do something that they feel comfortable with and want to be that little bit different as well, and they make that sort of very clear. They haven't openly said they don't expect it to be for everyone, but they hope that it will attract what they're looking to try and portray with that. And I said it's difficult with this album because I think there is a lot of sort of hidden messages and says of a very somber moment. So I think it would be interesting to hear some of the other stuff as well, potentially.
Okay. So the first song on the album was Boylston Street Introduction. Brett, do you want to go first? Actually, it's always me doing these. Talking about the song.
I think I prefer you going first, because I think generally you get some better notes from there. What I'll say is this is just a real sort of classic sort of introduction song. There's a tiny bit of sort of talking lyrics going on, but it was more about sort of the music from there. I've put here Prince's song Purple Rain. Kind of had that sort of feel to it. Some really nice guitar work through that as well. It's almost really sort of bring you into the album. You kind of need to, it's almost a bit like meditation, I find, in a way. It's almost like, right, turn anything else off. You need to just sort of get into it in the phone. It's just easing you in what you're sort of going into. And that's really made a good point this album needs to be listened to all the way through, and I think this is what the song that kind of does that for there, really.
Yeah, so Boston Street is a street in Boston, which is where the band are from, or based. I've done quite a bit of research into the Sunset Kings, you know, read like some various interviews they've done, had a look at some interviews they've done on their YouTube channel. So yeah, it's quite a long introduction, like one of the longest tracks on the album, which is quite unusual for an intro. I found it sort of hypnotizing, entrancing. So kind of what you were saying there, sort of like meditation. There was some speaking lyrics, yeah, by Star. And then it turned to rap, a little bit of rap going on. And this was interesting because this was the only bit of rap on the whole album. Because I had read a little bit, as I said, done a bit of research on the group, and I had read that they do rap in parts. So I kind of thought there would have been more rap, but this was the only song, the track that had any rap in it. I sort of found it psychedelic. There was a long instrumental on electric guitar, and it finished with some kind of voice message. Was it from a fan?
Yeah, so that's what I thought it was part of the next song. Yeah, so what was the voice thing at the end? And it sounded like it could have been a fan, like a fan literally have left them a voice note or left them a voice message, and they liked it so much decided to put it on the album. Again, that point I was going to make on some of the other tracks, a lot of sort of Beatles influence, sort of thing I can imagine the Beatles probably would have done in the day if they had like voice notes in there. And great way to, you know, help you, you know, to imagine being that fan, you know, sending voice notes or a message to the band, and next thing you know, that message is appearing on the album.
Yeah, but did you hear what she said at the end?
No, what was no?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she said, "Fuck you soon."
Fuck. Oh yeah, and I do remember picking that up actually. Yeah.
I don't think it was a real voice note from a fan. I don't know, but I think the Sunset Kings maybe if they want to tell us what it was, then they're more than welcome to. Yeah, so interesting introduction. Next one was, I think it's Metronomin. Is that how it's called?
Yeah.
So this one felt like, I suppose, like a pop / R&B kind of song, but the instrumental was the unusual. I was enjoying the song. Can I just say here, I think Star is a really good singer. I really love the way he sings. I just think his singing is really good, including on this album and all the other stuff. And some of the stuff I've listened to on the YouTube channel as well. But yeah, just the background sound was kind of unusual. But like I say, the more you listen to it, the more you can kind of start to appreciate it. But yeah, the first time it's like, wow, how can I sort of concentrate on this? There's so much going on. Yeah, really unique. And I thought the instrumental part sort of got a bit more prominent towards the end of the track. And the way I've left it, I think it would have been like a really sort of normal, catchy pop song if it wasn't for the instrumental oddness. But they want to be different, and it works.
Yeah, listen, I can't say much more now. I agree. Again, I put on some other next points here about his style of singing and his voice. Really, really good. And that's what also frustrated me, because I almost kind of want to just hear, you know, just almost like regular song with his singing, because I think it'd be fantastic. And I think I've put a note later on about it'd be interesting if they were to do cover versions where you can sort of at least recognise the song a bit, their take on it there.
One second, just to interrupt. On their YouTube channel, they do some covers. They've got, don't know if you like the song John Legend, All of Me. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think I may have heard of that song.
Yeah, give that a go.
One of those overplayed songs, but yeah.
Yeah, but oh mate, okay, you don't like that one. There's a few others on there as well.
No, I do like it. I was showing that in terms of, I can't imagine many people who wouldn't have actually heard that song before.
No, it was the name of it. I wasn't sure if it was called All of Me. I was just a bit unsure.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And then back to the song there, I said it's really hard because it's got nothing to really compare it to. I said it's very different. I said at times I feel like it could be too much going on. But otherwise, yeah, definitely some really good moments. And yeah, I've also wrote sort of an R&B sort of feel good there.
Okay. Next one was Green Street Skip Frame. So I've sort of classed it as a ballad. Looks like maybe they're talking about bad times, but then I guess the whole album is about that. I think I heard lyrics in there about sort of taking drugs till we're senseless. And I listened to the album once with my wife as well, and she described Star's voice, the singing, as sort of like Chris Brown, like, you know, Chris Brown.
Okay.
He was married to Rihanna, was he? Yeah. Before he beat her up, right?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, always sort of like sounded a bit like Chris Brown, not just so much in like the actual voice, but more like the sounds going on. It's quite hard to explain. And then she showed me Chris Brown singing at the same time as I was listening to this, and I could see the similarities.
Yeah, it was interesting, especially the title Green Street, because I can't help but associate the sort of football hooligan West Ham movie with Green Street. Obviously, there's something very different to that. There's also, I think this features quite a few different artists as well. Now, I didn't know if some were also actually part of band members. And I felt times you could get, I said, you get this sort of different vibes from different sort of people there. I actually listened to this one a second time and actually definitely enjoyed it a second time round listening to it. And actually almost became one of my favourites on the album. And again, I put reference here, definitely sort of a Beatles influence. And I know in one of his interviews, he's very influenced from John Lennon, which I can totally see and totally get. The whole sort of psychedelic sort of sounding and music and tracks there. And then there's also like a woman singing almost like in a 50s style voice in there as well. So yeah, that's it. Definitely a lot of aspects of that I really enjoyed. And I agree when you said before, listen to them again does definitely help with this.
Well, the good thing about it is because it's only half an hour long, it is very easy to listen to quite a few times.
Yeah, and you could say we'll go into, there's a couple of tracks which technically you could just skip past because they're not songs you don't need to listen to. You can just skip to the songs that you want to listen to.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't agree with that because, like I said, I just think the whole thing in the whole half an hour, you need to listen to the whole thing because it's telling a story. So we'll get to those those interludes shortly. The next one was Aftermath. So this was, I would describe it as a sort of pop song with a dreary effect, but dreary is like a negative word, but I mean it in a good way. You know, obviously they're talking about the aftermath of the death of their band member, so it's going to be that sort of dreary kind of like negative sort of feel. You know, they're feeling sad. So I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. Liking the sound effects, I think the drums make the song, which the drums sort of come into it sort of about halfway through, and that sort of really gets it going. And I've described it as sounding like Backstreet Boys, and I'm a big fan of the Backstreet Boys. You know, the style of the singing, I think it's a really good song. It's got a choir effect, almost felt sort of like a cappella, like they were just singing without music, and then the music got added in. And this is my favorite track on the album, and this is the one that I will be putting onto my playlist. Although saying that, I don't know if it's available on. I'll put it on my playlist. Yeah, it's there on Spotify. And yeah, favorite song on the album. Really, really liked it. It reminded me of Backstreet Boys. Great song.
There we go. Wow. I'll be honest, I didn't pick up on the Backstreet Boys elements on that there, but like you, this was my favourite track on the album. Again, this is where I made real emphasis on Star's voice, really liking his voice there. And then obviously had the drug. Then I said, at times I said it'd be good just to hear bits of that there, sort of really relaxing and stuff. And it's hard. If you didn't know, if you weren't looking too deep into me, obviously it's meant to be a sort of sad or depressing sort of feel to the song. but really does have sort of that also for me, when I wasn't thinking too much of that, a really relaxing, enjoyable listen to, and it's definitely the one you can imagine it could be released as a potential song to really get them out there. But yeah, it's definitely my favourite on the album.
Okay, good. The next one then was You Can't Control Death. This was just this was an interlude. So yeah, I thought it works well with the style of the album.
Yeah, I just go back to the point before I said, obviously you could just skip this. I mean, once you've listened to the album all the way through, if you just want to listen to any particular songs again, you could do, because the album's short there. But I do agree, yeah, when you listen to the album, these bits there, and it's not like they're that long either. It's only like a minute, if that, and it helps you imagine what this sort of album is all about. And we can imagine, I guess it is based on the bass player who died a few years back.
Okay. Next one then was You Play It Safe. So it had a really upbeat start. Sounded like it was sounded very indie to me with how it started off. I thought the vocals in this one were kind of like Bruno Mars. Now I have read somewhere when I was doing some research on the group, I think it did say they maybe took some of their inspiration from Bruno Mars or something like that. There was Bruno Mars was mentioned. There was a woman's voice in the background. Yeah, wasn't bad.
Yeah. Again, the same thing. Yeah, a sort of real British indie sort of sounding to it, straight into it. Sort of get things a bit more upbeat. I don't know if you noticed well. For me, this is the one that it almost like when you had scratches on a CD where it almost like skips and dumps. It had that sort of effect in the song. I generally thought when I was listening to it, there was a problem, and it was sort of skipping with it there, which would be weird because you only get that effect from like a CD or now it wouldn't happen on your phone, but that's what it sounded like there. And I just imagine being like a really sort of cool house party, not like a party, sort of more like a relaxed, chilled sort of that sort of style house party, having this in the background. And again, lots of different effects and things come in place there. And then the ending seemed very trippy from there as well, which again just moves on nicely into the next bit as well.
Yeah, the next one then was There's No Blueprint for Grief. It's an interlude. So yeah, this was them talking about, well, I don't know who it was talking. They were talking about Nick, but I know the guy that died was called Shag.
Shag, yeah.
I don't know if his real name was Nick or what.
Oh, actually, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
So I don't know who exactly was doing the speaking, but wasn't quite sure. But obviously, they were talking about the passing of this guy Nick, sort of showing their feelings. But I wasn't quite sure. I think I had two people speaking. First, I thought it was maybe they were like having a counselling session, and I was like, are they talking just between themselves? I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, I was trying. I didn't look so much into it, but yeah, it's literally two guys having a conversation. I generally thought it wouldn't have been the bass, but just with the title, there's no blueprint for grief, kind of thing. That's almost talking. I suppose maybe it could be sort of like talking beforehand and everything's been going on ahead. I don't know, but yeah, just sort of an interlude, there. And I think it's one I maybe need to look more into to find exactly maybe who was talking and what it was all about.
But I think the thing is with these interludes, what I like about them is they add to the effect of the message they're trying to portray. It's helping to tell this, like I say, it's kind of audio movie. So like you hear it, and it's talking about how they're struggling and stuff, and then the next song comes on, and you still got that in your mind. So it just helps to kind of portray the message, I think.
Yeah.
So the next one is In the Mood. Very strong jazz elements going on here. I like the singing, as I always do from start. But like Metro Nomin, which was one of the first tracks, the combination with the instrumental is unusual, and it does take a while to get used to. So yeah, if you listen to it the first time, you might be thinking, oh, what's going on here? But then, like I say, keep listening to it, and you just get used to it, and it ends up just working pretty well.
Yeah, so again, very strong jazz feel on this one. It also goes straight into the song, and it's kind of what you were saying there. Like for me, it's almost like there's three different elements, and if you listen to the first time, it's a bit too much. You don't know where to focus, and it's hard to do so. But if you're ready to expect that, you can probably get more used to it. For me personally, I would have just maybe initially, so I'd just like to listen to one part of it, like the singing bit, then the jazz bit, and then the other instrumental bits next. I think they all sound absolutely fantastic. Just felt a bit too much for me initially going on in sort of one song.
Okay, next one then was Warding Off Evil, another interlude. So yeah, just talking about warding off evil. I like the last sort of sentence. It was like something about, I can't remember what he said. It's like, so it's like warding off evil. It's like, yeah, exactly, like warding off evil. Something like that.
Yeah, okay, it was hard to figure. I didn't exactly get there. I've just written, yeah, exactly like sort of track 7. Difference being with this one, you have got a tiny bit of sort of background music in there, which I generally prefer because it kind of still keeps the flow of the album rather than when it stops, it's just talking. It's kind of, but I get the whole message and what they're trying to do with that. But for me personally, I'd throw a little bit of background music just to keep the flow of it going, really.
Okay, next one was Blue Dream. I'd describe it possibly as sort of easy sounding rock with R&B and pop elements. Brett, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually put sort of indie, R&B and electric for that one as well as sort of the sounding there. And as I said, it was a really hard one to explain. I kind of liked it, but also didn't mind. It's a really strange one. I think this was, again, too much sort of going on, and it was hard to really sort of properly enjoy it. But and this is where this part was thinking, you know what, this is probably a case of, I've written here, may need to listen over it again and sort of get more of an idea of what this is all about. But I definitely didn't hate it, but definitely getting aspects I really liked, and just a lot going on.
Okay, then we had Never Let Me Go. So very sort of heavy on the jazz here. Nice jazz going on. And the way I've described it is it's as if I'm listening to jazz on its own, and then you've got a star who's sitting next to me, almost sort of telling me a story. It's like you're sort of entranced in the jazz, and then you've got like it's kind of story going on. Really interesting, and it's really, like I say, it does take a bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, it's really, really good.
Yeah, so I put this as very similar to track 8, In the Mood, very strong with the jazz feel. And it's funny, actually, very similar to, almost like being in a jazz bar, but also, I also put it where, but in the next room, someone's trying to sing a song in the next room, and it's sort of coming through, and it almost like it doesn't feel like they're singing a totally different song. You're trying to listen to a jazz performance in that room, and you can just sort of pick up music of someone singing or talking somewhere else. So I put this in there as well as something quite artistic. This is where I actually put artistic word here, and it's where I noticed to realise it's a little frustrating one way, because it's hard to sort of pick up on the lyrics of what's being sung about. But like you said before, I don't think it really matters too much. Just sort of gives a feel to it. But that's what I just put on that there. It was hard because I wanted to either just listen to one or then listen to the other one separately.
Okay, and then finally we had Fuck the Sunset Kings, which was the outro. 24 seconds long. I'll be honest with you, I didn't get it. I didn't quite understand what was being said, or kind of what it was about. But like I say, it is very artistic, this album, and I think with me, maybe with you as well, I'm not the best when it comes to sort of, how can I explain it, like understanding these kind of what's the word, like artistic kind
artistic,
of,
yeah. You like, your good classic good tune, pop song, easy to pick up, listen to. It's almost like a difference between, you know, like reading a nice, easy magazine in comparison to a big novel. Can't really say the magazine's better than a novel. It's different. You kind of need to, and most people give it time. It's just very different. And it's very easy to enjoy something quick, sharp, snappy, gets in your head, pick it up, drop it down. Whilst this, it needs to sort of grow into it there. And with the last one, this we've all talked about outros and songs, and this, to me, felt the most unusual one. And that's saying something, because we've listened to Limp Bizkit's album with their strange outro. The plus side, because it was only really short, it didn't go into it, but it just seems weird, especially with the title After Sunset Kings. Just seems, it's almost like not really actually caring too much. They're not bothered what maybe other people say or think about them. It doesn't affect them or doesn't matter to them. But yeah, for the strangest one, and I said that's saying something after some of the ones to listen to.
Okay. So yeah, Brett, you started. So do you want to give us a sort of overview, conclusion? What would you say about the album, summing up?
Yeah, so I think it's almost like I said before. I think, like I said, it's a very diverse band, new alternative, a lot going on. I think it's definitely one you need to listen to more than once. But like I said, I like the fact it's not overly long. You can just sort of get in to listen to it. Definitely a lot of aspects of it I really, really enjoyed. I would love to take away from it. And I said there was a couple of good songs I also enjoyed from the album as well.
Okay. So yeah, as for me, I really, 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 really enjoyed it. It really grew on me the more I listened to it, and really appreciate, you know, what they're trying to do. And yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to like this kind of thing, but I certainly did in the end. And really happy that I've got that one song that I really like, even though, as I said, I do think the whole album is a story, so it should really be, you know, you should listen to the whole album. And yeah, just really, really enjoyed it. It's probably one of the most enjoyable albums that we've done on this channel, certainly more recently. I mean, there has been some albums we've listened to where it's been, you know, by people well known that we already know, we like some of their songs. But for someone who's completely unknown to us, with a genre of music that I'm not really familiar with, yeah, I don't think it's just really, really mind blowing, and just really, really enjoyed it, to be honest. So thanks to the Sunset Kings for requesting or for getting in contact with us for us to listen to the album. What I'll do is in the comment or in the description below, I'll leave some links to their stuff. Go and check them out. And yeah, if anyone else wants to get in contact with us, maybe some other bands, singers, whatever, and you want us to check out your music and review it, no problem. Let us know in the comment section below. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from us. Nothing else you want to
add? No, nothing else from me there. No. And yeah, again, thanks to Sunset Kings for that, because I did enjoy that.
Okay, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon for the next one. Take care.